Well, welcome everyone to another TFA Hangout. Today we're going to talk about further depth about Google Drive and organizing and using Google Drive for the Taylor Family Association. And if we have time, talk a little bit about how you as slicers can use it using our concepts that we're talking about today. We have Nancy Gregory and Ron with us, and we'll have a syllabus here that will be available for you to look at on a folder called TFA Members that you can pick up as you're working in with your as slicers with other parts of the family. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start by looking at the organization. We found that we had lots of folders, duplicates, and things like that, and we've endeavored to try and categorize them. So, Ron, if you'd like to take over and talk about this top level and about how we're going to access these various folders for the TFA members. Okay?
Sounds good. Okay, I've got the Google Drive opened on my screen here, and we're looking at one folder called the TFA folder, and that stands for Taylor Family Association. We may add that to the name of the folder if it becomes a problem of somebody understanding what TFA means. Anyway, that TFA folder is a folder that we will not be sharing because it's the master folder that contains all of these other folders. We will be sharing the subfolders. For example, we have a folder called TFA Members that will be shared with members that have subscribed to the Taylor Family Association. We have a folder for slicers, which obviously are for slicers that are working with us. We have a folder for the database where we store the master database online in a very restricted mode. That's only so that we can have a secure place to keep the database. And it's obviously backed up by Google and all of their internal systems. The fifth one is a folder for just the Taylor Family Association board members. It contains our membership list and a few things like that. And people like Laura Winder are in charge of maintaining those lists. The top one is public. That one is the one where we're going to put things that are related to the Taylor Family Association on a general basis. You don't have to be a member to look at that. It'll just be available. Might have references to our website and other things like that that are just available to anybody that's interested in looking into their Taylor family connections. So those are
that's great overview. So
yeah,
let's talk a little bit about what's in those. You started to talk about this public folder.
Yeah.
One of the big things that I think that we need to draw their attention to is your computer tools folder that will be linked to under that folder.
Yeah, there's another folder that's not part of the Taylor Family Association that I'll show you just what it looks like. We call it Computer Tools. And under the Computer Tools folder are general help files for doing various things, mostly genealogy, but some things for how to keep your computer clean so that it doesn't impede your usage for genealogy, and other things, how to check LDS ordinances. There's the one, how to clean a Windows computer. Anyway, so those are general ideas of how to use your computer rather than...
It's also one of the other big things we're going to be talking about there, the legacy family tree activities?
Yeah, legacy family tree as a general user, not as a Taylor user. If we find that we have a topic where we use the legacy family tree and it benefits just the Taylor family, we'll put it underneath that TFA general.
Okay, yes.
For the general members.
There is, in fact, some webinars that they have done with us, with the Taylor
Right.
Association, but they are, in fact, applicable to all persons.
To everybody. Yeah, they've invited the world because they know the Taylor Family Association has a good pattern for how to do some of these things. But yeah, we can reference those under TFA Public also. So
okay, well let's talk a minute about those about the member folder. You gave us a brief sketch on that one.
Okay, here's the member folder right now, and we need to simplify this a little bit. But
I think it's really exciting for the members to be able to have some how-tos or policy things that we're doing as an association, and talk about some of the events or things that projects that we have been involved with.
Correct. So like there's a subfolder under the members for collaboration. So most members are wondering, how do I get the information that the Taylor Family Association has? That for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
This is where they would go to start and find out how the collaboration works. It's not just, one of the big problems we have is that our collaboration, from our side of it, we look at collaboration as a two-way project, not one way. We don't just send stuff out and forget it. We want people to send stuff back in. That's collaboration.
Yes. And
so we're more than willing to send stuff out, but we want people to look at it and determine what needs to be updated and send the updates back in. That's
really important when we're talking about family histories. We've got some folklore out there in some of those histories that are available that we need to document and collaborate on a history of some of these thousands of people that we have in the Taylor line.
That's right. And some of the folklore is beyond folklore. It's more mythology.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
Well, okay, let's talk a little bit about this slicer folder too.
Okay. So
there's a lot of things we're putting in that folder, information that we generally are putting into folders. But let's talk about how, for a second, how about not only what we're sharing with slicers, but how they might add to this folder in terms of their own sub-slice working as well.
Right. Number one principle is we've tried to design the concept of slicing so that it doesn't matter whether you're doing the thing on a large scale or you're doing it just with your immediate family members. It works the same way. So a slice can go out from a grandfather to all of his grandchildren, or it can go out from a great-grandfather to all of his great-grandchildren. Doesn't matter. Works the same way.
I was excited to have one of my daughters talk to me the other day and say, "Dad, I need to update some of that stuff." So we're working to be able to have her act as a sub-slicer and put in some of the information about her growing family that she knows about.
Yeah, that's a really good principle. I have one patron that I've helped produce a family history book on her family, and she had a lot of trouble trying to get information from her family members. So finally, what we did, we sent out a kind of a proof of what was going to be published. And we said that here's the pictures and here's the information that's going to go in the book. If it's wrong, it's your responsibility to fix it. Otherwise, this is what's going to be printed. You would not believe how quickly new pictures and stuff were sent in.
Yes, well, that's a good suggestion for our slicers.
Yes.
That's, I think the same thing is true if you send out a family group sheet, you know, let's say, hey, this is what I got, you know, this is what we're thinking about putting in, you know,
Yep.
same kind of idea. So slicers will be able then to add their own folder and family to track information that's going on with their family using our methodology, correct?
Correct.
Let's go on and talk about the database for a second. You alluded that we're keeping the master database there, but let's talk about movement of the slices that you send out to these various slicers and how we're going to use this methodology with the slicers.
Oh, very good point. Okay, so we won't be putting all of the individual slicers under the database. What we have is the slicer folder, and here's a good example, couple of good examples. We got the Charles Hyde Taylor family, and we got the Joseph Allen Taylor family, and that's where they put their slices. So here's under the Joseph Allen Taylor. It's got the slicers. This is a document that Gordon made. And there's also another document here. And we could have a copy of their piece of the database right here.
Right. In fact, I just deleted the database that was there and am ready to send you back another copy of that. And we propose to put my file that I'm sending back to you in this same folder, correct?
That's right. Or you could even make a subfolder here if you wanted to. But one way or the other, that's the easiest way. And the reason why we do that is because typically, even with Google Gmail, you can typically only attach about a 10 megabyte file to an email. Whereas with the Google Drive, you can drop a large file in there and it will transfer in almost as fast as it will an email attachment, but it doesn't need to be broken down into small pieces. You can send like a 100 gig file or a 10 gigabyte file by dropping it in Google Drive, and the person on the other end can pick that up.
And that is particularly important for the media portion of the where you have pictures connected to the database itself.
Yep, very important.
Yeah. All right. Well, the last piece.
I'm just going to point out a couple more things Gordon has added here. You got newsletters that are starting to go out for slicers and policies for slicers. There's all kinds of good stuff in here for the slicers.
Yeah, and we'll refine that as we're going along as we look at this further to try and help you. The last one that is the board, and I think Ron pretty well covered generally what's available there. That's really for the management of the organization, as I understand it.
Yeah, I might explain. You probably don't need. It's probably obvious, but the reason why this folder is protected, I'll show you. Right now, we have it protected so that Nancy and Gordon and Laura Winder can edit things in there. There's a few others that have the ability to look at stuff, like Noel's on there, so he can look at things in the folder. But the reason why is because these documents contain personal information. We don't want that information available to the whole world. Right.
And as members, you'll all remember that we ask you for your pedigree,
Correct.
so that we can make sure that it's connected correctly in the database, but also verifying, your line. And that provides, of course, for other opportunities down the road as we're looking at collaboration, to be able to look at people that are connected in some kind of a community relationship that maybe down the road we'll be able to use for research purposes. But right now,
Yep.
it's held and tightly controlled.
Yeah, the only other one I didn't mention was this number 6. This is what we call our pending folder. So anytime we get new types of documents or folders that need to be filed, we put them in here first, and then we determine where to categorize them into one of these other 5. But this is a pending folder, so that's where we store things that need to be sorted out.
Well, and let me give them an example that I think would be useful. One of the things that we are seriously talking about is the correcting of the monument that is out there in Tennessee. There are several dates on that.
There's 2 monuments. There's the one in Kentucky, and there's the one in Illinois.
Yeah, well, let's talk. The one in Kentucky's got some problems.
Yeah.
But what we've got to do is we've got to correct some of those dates, because we're seeing that the dates on those stones are being used in other documents, particularly in other genealogical software, Family Search and others, as authority.
Yeah.
And
who would doubt Find a Grave? If it's on Find a Grave, it has to be right.
Yeah, right.
Well, for the history of everyone, that stone was created after a reunion in 1909 with the information that was available. And so a few years later, that stone was put up with the information that was available at the time, and there were a few obvious errors that need to be corrected. That's a project.
They could have been worse. In 1909, they thought we were connected to Zachary Taylor. And so at least that's not on there.
Okay. All right. Well, so this is how the Taylors are planning association planning to organize our files. And we wanted to share this index with you. It will be available in the member folder, and for you to further look at and categorize and use when you're also doing your own family folders following this protocol or this level of guidance. Nancy, did you have anything else that you wanted to share with us before we conclude?
No, I think you got it covered.
Well, we appreciate Ron and Nancy and I working together here. It's been a collaborative effort to try to get these hundreds of documents in some kind of a direction so that it's more useful to all of you. If you have suggestions or questions about things, you're more than welcome to contact us with suggestions about how we could improve your efforts with the Taylor Family Association. And we appreciate all of your contributions, and know that some of you got great ideas that haven't been materialized yet in the association. We encourage you with the histories and the families together, the descendancy information. We're concerned that we have maybe less than 50% of the descendants of this great family documented in the files. So we have work to do. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.